Hare Krishna. The Journey of Self-Discovery, Chapter-3, The Science of Spiritual Life. Let's start. What happens to the conscious self at the time of death? On October 10, 1975, in West Village, South Africa, Srila Pravupada explains the science of reincarnation to Dr. S.P. Oliver, rector of the University of Durban. Dr. Oliver says, we are left in this 20th century, this last part of the century, with a new global search for the truth about the spiritual. We, of course, in the Western world, are not familiar with the Bhagavad Gita. Our problem is basically, I think, the one that you raised in your lecture. How do we make the spiritual a scientific reality? And I think you were quite right. I think really few people get the point that you were trying to make, that this is a scientific matter. Prabhupada say, that is the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, scientifically presenting spiritual knowledge. Therefore, I raised the question, what is transmigration of the soul? Nobody could reply properly. We are changing bodies. There are so many varieties of bodies, and we may enter into any one of them after death. This is the real problem of life. Pratyek kriyamanani gunya karmani sharvasha. Nature is working, providing us with material bodies. This body is a machine. This machine, like just a car, has been offered to us by material nature, by the order of God, Krishna. So, the real purpose of life is to stop this perpetual transmigration from one body to another, and revive our original spiritual position so that we can live an eternal, blissful life of knowledge. That is the aim of life. Dr. Oliver say, the conception of transmigration is not, of course, in the Christian religion. Prabhupada say, it is not a question of religion. Religion is a kind of faith that develops according to time and circumstances. The reality is that we, a spirit soul, by the laws of material nature, we are carried from one body to another. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes distressed, sometimes in the heavenly planets, sometimes in lower planets. And human life is meant for stopping this process of transmigration and reviving our original consciousness. We have to go back home, back to Godhead, and live eternally. This is the whole scheme of Vedic literature. The Bhagavad Gita gives the synopsis of how to act in this life. Therefore, through the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, we can begin to understand the constitutional position of the soul. First of all, we have to understand what we are. Am I this body or something else? This is the first question. I was trying to answer this. But some people in my audience thought it was a kind of Hindu culture. It is not Hindu culture. It is a scientific conception. You are a child for some time. Then you become a boy. Then you become a young man. And then you become an old man. In this way, you are always changing bodies. This is a fact. It is not a Hindu conception of religion. It applies to everyone. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kamaram yavanam zara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra na muhiyati. To a devotee, find this verse. Devotee reads, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from bodyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Prabhupada say, in the Bhagavad Gita, everything is explained very logically, very scientifically. It is not a sentimental explanation. Dr. Oliver say, the problem, as I see it, is how to get modern man to make an in-depth study of what is contained or outlined in this book, especially when he is caught up in an educational system that denies a place for this very concept or even the philosophy or it. There is either complete neutrality or just a simple rejection of these truths. Prabhupada say, they do not accept the soul. Oliver say, they accept the soul. I think so. But they do not care to analyze what it means. Prabhupada say, without analyzing this, what is their situation? First of all, they should analyze the distinction between a dead body and a living body. The body is always dead, just like a motor car without a driver. The car is always a lump of matter. Similarly, this body with or without the soul is a lump of matter. Dr. Oliver say, it is not worth very much. I think around 56 cents. Prabhupada say, but if one cannot distinguish between the car and the driver of the car, then he is just like a child. A child thinks the car is running automatically, but that is his foolishness. There is a driver. The child may not know, but when he is grown up and has been educated and still he does not know, then what is the meaning of his education? Oliver say, is the Western world the whole range of education covers only primary, secondary and tertiary education. There is no place for an in-depth study of the soul. Prabhupada say, I talked with one professor of Moscow. Maybe you know him, Professor Kotovsky. He teaches at the Soviet Academy of Sciences. I had a talk with him for about an hour. He said, after his body is annihilated, everything is finished. I was surprised that he told me this. He is known to be a very good scholar, yet still he does not know about the soul. Dr. Oliver say, we have an ideology course here given by a scholar from Vienna. But what he teaches? What kind of basic philosophy? I wouldn't know. There are about 40 students. In essence, they ought to start by making a detailed study of the Bhagavad Gita and use that as a basis for their whole philosophy. Srila Prabhupada say, so why not appoint someone to teach Bhagavad Gita as it is? That is essential. Dr. Oliver say, our university almost has an obligation to make a study of this point in depth. Prabhupada say, by thoroughly studying Bhagavad Gita, one begins his spiritual education. Oliver say, well, this is apparently what one needs. Our Hindu community here in South Africa seems to lack my fixed idea of what constitutes Hinduism. The young people especially are living in a complete vacuum. For various reasons, they do not want to accept religion because this is what they see around them. They cannot identify with the Christian religion, the Islamic religion or the Hindu religion. They are largely ignorant. Srila Prabhupada say, they should be shown the right path. This is the original, authentic path. Dr. Oliver say, there were not very many great scholars in South Africa. Amongst our Indian community, the Indian people came by and large as workers on the sugar plantations, field workers, a few were jewelers and tailors and so on. Then for the last 100 years there was a political struggle resisting transportation back to India. They were fighting to make a living and to find their own place in this country. As I see it, they must give meaning to the essence of their own beliefs and faith. I have been telling them that we are privileged to have them here in this country with their background and that they must not cut themselves away from it and tripped into a vacuum. But they don't know to whom they should turn. So basically they and myself and others want to know how we get this spirit into our own heart and how does this then issue out into everyday living. Srila Prabhupada say, that is all explained in the Bhagavad Gita, how to live peacefully in this world and how to go back home, back to Godhead. Dr. Oliver say, But how does one get modern man to voluntarily make this experiment? The real tragedy is we have wandered so far away from the spirit that we do not know where to start, and we can't get a few dozen honest believers to sit down and try to find out how much God wants to give of His mind to our minds. Srila Prabhupada say, God is giving Himself. We just have to accept Him. That requires a little advancement. Otherwise, everything is there. God says that the soul is eternal and the body is changing. It is a very simple example. A boy becomes a young man and a young man becomes an old man. There is no denying this fact. I can understand it and you can understand it. It is very simple. I remember that as a boy I was jumping and I cannot do that now because I have a different body. So I am conscious that I possessed a body like that. Now I do not possess it. The body is changing, but I am the same person eternally. It requires a little intelligence to see this. That's all. I am the owner of the body and I am an eternal soul. The body is changing. Dr. Oliver say, now, having accepted that, a further problem then arises. What are the implications? Srila Prabhupada say, yes, if I understand that I am not this body, yet at the present moment I am engaged only to keep my body comfortable without taking care of myself, that is wrong. For example, if I am cleansing this shirt and coat thrice daily, but I am hungry, that would be impractical. Similarly, this civilization is wrong in this basic way. If I take care of your shirt and coat, but I don't give you anything to eat, then how long will you be satisfied? That is my point. That is the basic mistake. Material civilization means taking care of the body and bodily comforts, but the owner of the body, the spirit soul, gets no care. Therefore, everyone is restless. They are changing to ism, from capitalism to communism, but they do not know what the mistake is. Dr. Oliver say, there is very little difference. They are both material. Srila Prabhupada say, the communists think that if we take control of the government, everything will be adjusted. But the mistake is there. Both the communist and the capitalist are taking care of the external body, not the eternal identity, the soul. The soul must be peaceful, then everything will be peaceful. Bhaktaram yajna tapashyam sarvaloka mahishyaram shuridam sarvabhutanam gyattamam shantim rachayati. Devotee say, a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains speech from the pangs of material's miseries. Srila Prabhupada say, this means that one must know what God is, because you are the part and parcel of God. You already have a very intimate relationship with Him. Our business is knowing God. So at the present moment, there is no information. People have no complete idea. Dr. Oliver say, well, I believe that if a satellite in the sky can reveal what is happening from one pole to the other pole, then surely God can reveal His spirit and His mind to everyone who wants to obey Him, who wants to know Him, and who sincerely wants to follow Him. Prabhupada say, yes. So here in the Bhagavad Gita, God is explaining Himself. We have to take it by logic and reason. Then it will be a clear understanding of God. Dr. Oliver say, yes, but how to get this across? Prabhupada say, the teaching is there. We have to understand it by authoritative discussion. Dr. Oliver say, I think so. This is probably where one has to start. We have to sit down and discuss this, much the same as some professors would discuss any scientific experiment. Srila Prabhupada say, the process for understanding is described here. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire him from submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impact knowledge onto you because they have seen the truth. Prabhupada say, read the purport. The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord Himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey to his disciple the Lord's message as it is. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of the foolish pretenders. The Srimad Bhagavat says, Dharam tu shakshad bhagavat pranitam. The path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path, nor by independent study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absorbed inquiries are condemned. Not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind towards the discipline. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. Prabhupada say, the practical example is here. These European and American boys are coming from well-to-do families. Why are they serving me? I am Indian, coming from a poor country. I cannot pay them. Why I came to the West? I had no money. I bought only 40 rupees. That was only an hour's expenditure in America. So their soul is to carry out my instruction, and therefore they are making progress. Pranipatena pariparshnena. They are asking questions. I am trying to reply to them, and they have all got full faith. They are serving like menial servants. This is the process. If the spiritual master is bona fide and the disciple is very sincere, then the knowledge will be there. This is the secret. Vedic knowledge is revealed unto those who have faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master. Therefore, in Vedic society, the students are automatically sent to the Gurukul, regardless of whether one is a king's son or from some other background. Even Krishna had to go to Gurukul. There is a story that once Krishna went with a classmate to the forest to collect dry wood for his spiritual master. Suddenly, there was a heavy rainstorm, and they could not get out of the forest. The whole night they remained in the forest with great difficulty. The next morning, the Guru, their teacher, along with other students, came to the forest and found them. So, even Krishna, whom we accept as the Supreme Lord, had to go to Gurukul and serve the spiritual master as a menial servant. So, all of the students at the Gurukul learned how to be very submissive, and how to live only for the benefit of the Guru. They are trained from the very beginning to be first class submissive students. Then the Guru, out of the affection and with an open heart, teaches the boys all he knows. There is no question of money. It is all done on the basis of love and education. Dr. Oliver say, I might have difficulty accepting parts of what you have indicated here simply because I don't know. But basically accept that God lives in us and that when we leave things to Him, He knows how to direct these things. The challenge is living life so that He will be satisfied. This is where the difficulty comes in. You need the inspiration to be disciplined. This will only become a reality in one's life if one practices it and practices it with others who share this commitment. Prabhupada say, therefore, we have this International Society for Krishna Consciousness showing how to live a life of dedication to God. That is required. Without practical life in God consciousness, it remains simply theoretical. That may help, but it takes longer. My students are being trained up in practical spiritual life and they are established. Dr. Oliver say, I want to thank you very much and I pray that God will bless your visit to our country and our people here. Prabhupada say, Hare Krishna. End of chapter 3. Please like, share and subscribe and help me to go ahead. Thank you so much.